Recording. Okay, ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. Niraj, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's an absolute pleasure.
I'd like to start off by telling everybody where I met the guest. And you and I met just a few days ago here in Encinitas. You're down here for a SOMA Breathwork workshop that I took yesterday. But I was actually introduced to you via Josh Trent's podcast, Wellness Force Radio, when you were on. And then again through Ben Greenfield's podcast. I've heard you a number of times. And I was very interested in the SOMA Breath that you were talking about. And then Josh Trent, via the Wellness Force community, had made it a little snippet of it available. And so I used it. And as my friends know, I'm a musician, and like music is going to make or break things for me. And your meditation, or excuse me, your breath work comes with beats behind it that you breathe to. And that was so transformational for me because it just drops you into this flow. And we'll talk more about SOMA later, but I thought not only would I love to have you on the show to spread the word about SOMA, but also in listening to Wellness Force, you had an amazing quit that led you to start SOMA. And so I was very grateful when you agreed to come on and talk about it.
Yeah.
So if you could take us back to, you were from England.
Yes.
And at some point you were a pharmacist.
Indeed.
And you were feeling out of alignment. If you could take us back to that point.
Yeah, sure. So, I was a community pharmacist for several years in the UK, and it was the worst career choice for me because it's a very robotic job. I'm a very creative person, a musician, so people who are creative and artistic, it's like a real challenge to do repetitive tasks day in, day out, where there's no spiritual value of the work you're doing. And I didn't feel there was any spiritual value from what I was giving through drugs and medications and prescriptions. And spiritually, that really made me very disillusioned and disheartened with just the world, just seeing so many people suffering and feeling helpless. And I signed up for this degree, I did 6 years of it, with the intention for helping people. So to feel like I'm not at service was really the big kind of challenge for me. And I spent a long time trying to get out of it. I did all kinds of different business ideas and ventures that failed, got me into more debt, borrowing money, and just it was really disheartening. And I was constantly on this kind of hamster wheel, living paycheck to paycheck, down in my sorrows every week. And actually for a while I did kind of almost lose hope. But really one of the turning points was when I got taken kicking and screaming to this Tony Robbins event where I was like, what is this motivational stuff? I was like a raver, it was way too cool for that stuff. And anyway, so I went, and it was amazing, incredible, it's total new energy, just because usually I'm surrounded by an environment of stress, high stress, negativity, sick people, people complaining and moaning about their jobs, and the level of conversations are very intellectually inspiring. So that was most of the majority of my day, and then suddenly you're in this high energy, high vibe place full of these people just living life to the max, and other people that are going through similar challenges but are a part of this new community, which I just found was amazing, this whole personal development work. So, but on the last day, they talk about health. And this was a real big turning point for me, because the first time as a pharmacist I learned that diet and nutrition has such an impact on the health, and that we are what we eat, and how we can regenerate every cell in the body, over time if we do follow the right plan of action. So I was light bulb went off, and I was like, right, I'm gonna see if I can give this information in an easy way to the patients. And actually in the pharmacy, that's just started this new thing led by the government where it's called medicine use reviews, so MURs, where you'd be paid basically to do a 15-minute consultation to get the patient more compliant with using the drug. So coaching them on making sure they take the pills every day and all that kind of stuff, and to see if there's any interactions and to change. But really it was about getting people to take more drugs, right? Now I use this as an opportunity to get people off the drugs. So I actually used this time I started to write little shopping lists for patients based on their health conditions. But to get people motivated about actually taking action on their diet, I just came up with a very simple analogy, which was like, imagine what happens when you put the wrong fuel into your car, right? Like you put petrol into a diesel or the other way around. And most people have done that, and they knew the consequences of that. So I was like, well, just imagine right now you've been putting the wrong fuel into your super efficient bioengine for years, and this is why you've got all these problems, and then that's why you need to go to the doctor who's like your mechanic. And unless you learn how to service yourself, look after yourself, and feed yourself the right fuel, you're going to always be on these drugs. And I said to them, like, do you really want to be taking this stack of pills? And most people don't, because they are getting side effects. And the side effects are sometimes worse than the symptoms of the problems of it. Actually, in many instances, people will go to the doctor perfectly normal. They'll do a blood test, a blood pressure test, and there will be slight elevation of blood pressure. So straight away they put them on a pill. That pill will then lead to a cascade of more drugs. So a person may just innocently go into a doctor one day and suddenly be on, in a year, 3 or 4 other meds. And this is how they get you, is with these medical tests, diagnostic tests. Because actually on any given day, there's only a few million people, right, in a country that are actually really ill, okay? Most people are pretty well, all right? Until you go and see a doctor and you go and get your annual checkup. And then suddenly you're ill and you've got all these problems. It's really much like going to take your car for servicing. So I could see through this bullshit, of what's going on. I could see that this is a money-making scheme on a very, very high level. So simply giving them a little analogy, the car actually got people taking action, had amazing results, got people off all kinds of different concoctions of pills, especially like things like diabetes and blood pressure, where actually lifestyle is very easy to fix these solutions. So these problems. So I then actually got fired from that first job. So I didn't even have to quit. I just got fired.
For giving out nutritional information?
Well, I was deemed to be mismanaging the pharmacy.
Gotcha.
By
making less money than more.
So then the next thing was, because I was just like, yay, and because I was really excited. I was like, I'm going to do something with this now, like else. So for a joke, what I did was I wrote a CV on monster.com, the job channel website, and I put up a CV saying all the reasons why I don't want to be a pharmacist, what I think of the healthcare system, and
Hold it, stop for a second, sorry. This seems to have randomly stopped.
No.